This video is for people who are feeling tormented from their thoughts, maybe overthinkers, or feeling pushed and pulled by what's going on up here, like some massive activity. So, with that being said, my main ideas that I'm going to be talking about are acceptance and allowance. That's the theme here of what I'm going to use to articulate how we can become more in a state of freedom in our minds and dissolve some of that resistance and go with the flow more. Because when we are manifesting and working on yourself, making all these beautiful changes for yourself, your personal growth, without that there's just so much going on in here. And how do you even manage that? It's overwhelming. You feel insane. You're going to feel it regardless. But when I share with you what I'm going to talk about, this really helps bring the noise level or the effects of it down so much. I've been practicing this idea I'm going to share with you for about almost a month now, and it's made a huge impact in my life. So let me just start with a story before I jump in. So I was the person who would have a family function maybe around the holidays, and that gave me a little anxiety because there's a lot of different personalities that have to get along. This is how I'm thinking. Different personalities that got to get along, and I already know that some people have tension with each other and they create, unfavorable situations, and I'm a person who likes to avoid conflict, so I felt like it was my job to control it. So people would come and I would just have to try to control what people are saying, veer them off in different directions. I felt like I was trying to direct something, forcing and pushing it. It felt heavy, it felt draining. I didn't even want to do it anymore. There was a time when I just didn't even want to deal with people. But it was because I was trying to force and push and manipulate and control the situation so I could feel better. But in the end, it only created more resistance for me. And I felt like I was a prisoner in my mind. I was tormented by the thoughts going on in here. I felt stuck. I felt like, when do I get some peace? When do I get that? When can I be free of all this stuff? And I used to fight my thoughts too. Like, I'd have thoughts of, oh, this is going on, or this, and I'm trying to manifest, and I'm like, that's going against what I'm trying to manifest. So no, that can't exist. And I would fight with it. My precious focused energy fighting with these thoughts, denying thoughts that came up, those intrusive thoughts that pop up. I was fighting with those. That's not constructive. That's not helpful. That's giving them energy. That's giving them momentum. And so I had this huge energy drain. And I didn't know till I started practicing this how big of a drain it was, because it has literally changed how I can move through things. So let's dive in. The two important things that I'm going to be talking about are acceptance and allowance. A little similar, but quite a bit different as well. So let's start with allowance. Really, what allowance is letting things be there, letting anything be there, letting it exist. Now, that might seem really simple, but when you're in your mind with overwhelm and you're being tormented by thoughts and you're denying them, you're not allowing them. You are giving them more energy. In this allowance, letting them be there, you strip them of their energy and their power. You make them neutral. You just allow the thoughts to be there. Mind me, I'm going to be reading some notes here. You just give them space to exist. It doesn't mean you have to like them. It doesn't mean they have to be true. It just means you have to give it space to exist. Because also, when you're fighting against it and pushing against it, you're creating that resistance, that energy. And then again, you're feeding that, giving that your precious energy and focus. And it's being deprived from what you want to be manifesting, what you want to be focusing on to amplify and manifest. So there's the allowing part. Acceptance. Acceptance is this idea that something has happened, favorable or not, but that's what happened. And we can see it as it is. We can acknowledge it. Again, along with allowance, we don't necessarily have to love it, embrace it, or cuddle it. We just have to let it be. We just have to know that we accept that happened, and we use that for change. We use that to guide us towards what we do want. We use that acceptance to say, okay, I accept that this mistake happened, but I don't accept that has to be me moving forward. I accept that I can create a new experience for myself. I can accept that I can use that energy to create something different. See, the power and the energy of that is way different than when we're up in our minds trying to force, control, manipulate, and move. I spend a lot of time doing that. A lot of time, and I'm so frustrated. And, I've been playing with this idea of the observer for a long time, too. And it just, as I started to use these themes of allowance and acceptance, I naturally sat down into my observer. Now, there was a lot of times, and there still is, when I will sit there as the observer and I can see my old self coming up and wanting to fight with those thoughts or not accept them. And I just affirm to myself, I accept and allow these thoughts where they're at right now. I accept and allow this. I just allow it. Like, that's with uncomfortable emotions too. That was big for me, is I did not want to accept the emotions or what was going on. Like, it was kind of cringe for me, and I would kind of cower away from it a little bit. And so now when I can just sit there and say, I accept that this emotion is here for me right now, and I allow it to move through me, and I allow myself and accept myself to experience it, it just moves through and moves on. Versus holding on to it and creating resistance on holding on and saying, I don't like this, I don't like being here, how do I get there, I'm trapped. No, it's that holding on to it that keeps it trapped. The allowing and acceptance is opening up to the purest energy of what it is, allowing it to be there. That's it. It just can be that simple. And you might just need to say it to yourself a million times. I allow this to exist. Oh, there's a thought that popped up. I allow it to exist. And I will sit back down into my observer seat and I will allow these thoughts all day long. And I've started to notice that I'm not paying as much attention to those automatic intrusive thoughts just rolling through my head. I just kind of let them do their thing. And they're starting to lose more of their power, because when I'm not focused on them, I'm not feeding them that negative energy, or I'm not conversating with them, they don't have anything else to do but run their course and be done. And so I've found that I have a lot more mental peace in my mind, and I feel more free, because I don't feel like I'm clicked into these thoughts and investing in the energy of them and propelling them and perpetuating them. I've taken that energy back that I would have been creating into resistance, and I allow it back into the flow of how life is going for me. And I keep affirming, my positive things that I'm doing while the negative stuff is still going on. But the more I don't give it the energy, I stifle its life. And so those negative things, those intrusive thoughts, don't have the power that they once did. So the resistance calms down. You're not spinning your wheels. You're not giving your energy away. You're not leaking your energy, and you have more of it to go towards what you want to create. Create more peace in your life. and bring that freedom forward to create more space for what you want to make. Thank you so much for showing up. Rainbow Horse here. See you in the next video.